What is up? I hope you are doing well. I want to get straight to the point here because I want this to be a zero fluff, no BS video. My exact path, methods, and calculations on how I'm going to make just under 6 figures in profit this year. And this is just for the remaining months of the year. I'm not even counting January, February, March, or April. Sweet, so let's get right over to my computer and we'll hop straight into it. So, jumping right into it again. Step 1. This should already be done by the time you get here, but I'll just talk about it briefly. You want to pick a winning product or products and build a cult brand, because this is, again, no drop shipping. Drop shipping isn't going to really build you a long time sustainable business with, market value. So pick something real that you can differentiate yourself and build a brand around it that actually stands for something. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, let's move over to the juicy stuff, the numbers. And there's a little bit of math in here, and I'm not going to show you too much, but it's real basic math, and it's just, it's kind of common sense, and you kind of have to do some basic math here, so I don't want to hear you complaining about math. Anyway, so month 1, we're going to obviously be ordering the inventory, and we're going to assume we're unprofitable. So in my case, and like I said, I'm using specific numbers to my business here just to be, super transparent and, as credible as possible. So, 5,800 is the total. Let me break that down. So the COGS are 29 per unit times the 200 units. That is my MOQ. And that 29 breaks down basically to 27.3 for everything in the product. And I budgeted around $1.07 for a tariff. And that is kind of fluctuating depending on where you manufacture, especially if it's China. But in general, that's kind of what I'm at for COGS. And that's how much I have to spend the first month. So first month we're at a loss, but that's okay, because we know we're going to be able to make some sales. First month of sales, we're budgeting for we're assuming we're getting only one sunglasses purchase a day. So what that even means is, like, say you do 5 in one day, and then for the next 4 days you don't do any, that still equals 1 a day. So we're assuming 1 a day. We make $4,500 for the month, and we're at a loss of $1,300. So we're still at a loss, like I said, but as you can see, we're quickly picking up speed here. And then July, as you can see, we're profitable. So we're bumping this up to 2 pairs a day. That's $9,000 for the month, and as you can see, $7,700. And I'm not going to go into detail on all these because you get the idea. We slowly build up, and this is all top line revenue. So at the end of the month, at the end of the year, again, starting in May, we're at positive $111,200 a month, and that's, again, it's pretty conservative considering, like, the fact that we're building a real cult brand here. And I'm going to talk about now the different ways to get to that and what is maybe more effective, efficient, and more profitable for you. But that number ain't bad, okay? And like I said, this is how much we're selling the product for. You want to have at least 80% margins when trying to scale your business, just because that allows you to, if you want, use that on marketing or product development or customer acquisition, whatever that may be. So we're moving on over here. So this is where the profit and what goes into your pocket comes into play. So this little number right here, that was our total gross revenue. And gross just means before all expenses. It's just cost per unit, cost of goods sold. Okay, so to break down how much we actually take home, and I'm not gonna count, like, a domain payment per year or the website hosting. You can count that separately. It's kind of the numbers are pretty small in comparison to everything else, and I didn't want to get too nitty gritty. So you can calculate that in if you would like. Just subtract, however much that is from these total numbers. But this is like the main gist of how to calculate the net. So for now, we're gonna just work with that. So like I said, 29 is our COGS, and we're selling for 150. So that's a little over 80% margins, which means the cost is around 19.33% of the retail price, which is pretty good. And now to calculate, total profit, we multiply the total revenue times that in decimal form. That's how much our total COGS is, and then you just subtract that minus COGS, and you get this beautiful big number right here, 89 freaking thousand for what, like 6, 7, 8, I can't count, months of the year. Profit, take home, buy whatever you want with that. Or so that's, and we're gonna talk about what this means right here. I haven't talked about that yet, and these can actually differentiate, and you'll see why in a minute. Let me just do the numbers first though. And then the other version is commission. So this is working with affiliates, and I assume basically you pay 20% in commission. That's why I just added an extra 0.2 onto this number, and that's this. And if you subtract, same thing, and this is what you take home in profit using commission. Now, obviously, you're like, why would I use commission? I'm getting this money here. This basically is calculating. It's an economic word. It's embarrassing. But basically, with this is a lot harder to reach the same amount of sales as this is. It's not necessarily harder, but basically with this you can always guarantee you'll get more sales because you have other people selling your product other than just yourself. So yeah, logically you're going to sell more if there's other people also selling. So with this, you're generally going to get a lot more sales, but you won't have as high margins at the end of the year and the end of the month, whatever your calculating period is. So with this, let's say we were able to sell twice as much. Like we'd be paying more for cost of goods and our expenses to creators, but you're gonna sell so much more in volume. So this number can easily go way up compared to this. So that's gonna be your gold mine right there. Even though you're making less total profits, relative to this, once you start getting affiliates involved that are dedicated and the videos pop off, they start to do well, you basically have a free salesperson for you that you literally only pay when they make a sale. So it's a win-win for everybody. I hope this was helpful, and I know it's kind of a lot of boring numbers, but this is exactly what we project to do for the remainder of the year. And like I said, I'm going to be using this, just hopefully start to continue to scale the affiliate program. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or would like me to talk about any of these other steps or just any other questions, feel free to comment down below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.